Hi, I thought I was going to do this little talk on simplicity here in the middle of the woods, as a matter of fact. This is Norway, this is snow, and we're in the middle of the woods. I'll show you a little bit around. There's a little pond here, and it's quite a nice place actually. The little green thing you see in the bottom right corner there is actually part of the tree, because I couldn't put my cell phone, which I'm doing this on, anywhere else. So I'm mounted you now on a tree. So there we go. Now I want to talk about simplicity, because some months ago I realized that the only thing I actually have to offer in life is the ability to simplify things. There might be other things, but that's the main thing I have to offer. I do a lot of stuff. I write, I make music, I coach people, I do projects with large companies or small companies. And the bottom of all of that is actually the simplicity of things, to make things simpler, to simplify. This is what I actually do. And I want to talk a little bit about the simplicity of things, because I've done some interesting things lately. One of the things I've done is I've been doing some practicing with Dexter Gelfand. He is a practitioner, and he is helping people in various walks of life. And I realized that I could need a boost when it comes to my own realizations and simplicity. So I try out all kinds of stuff. I tried out Scientology for 25 years, for crying out loud. I tried out a lot of stuff, and now I realized that let's see if Dexter has something to offer. Dexter Gelfand has also been in Scientology, but he has departed a long way from that since the days in that cult/religion. I mean, talking about Scientology, I just wanted to make a note that my current stance on Scientology is that it is a complex mess. It is way too complex, very much far from my idea of simplicity. So I departed the project or the subject completely. Never looked back really. So looking for ways to simplify, for simpler ways of finding simplicity, etc., I stumbled upon Dexter. And I've done some, I don't know, 7-8 hours with him, and his extremely simple approach is something that appeals to me very much. He just tells me, okay, whatever comes up, let that feeling permeate through your body, tell me what happens. It's no guidance, there is no questions, there is no listing of questions, there is no complexity involved. It's just simply asking me what comes up, and I come up with stuff that comes up. And it's cool to have a chatting partner like that to sort of distill my realizations into the simplest possible form. And comparing this to my journey in Scientology, I said, you know, I'll do Scientology all over again if I had the chance, because I had gains through every single thing I did in Scientology. I had some kind of gains from bottom to the top. Now, comparing what Dexter and I have done for 7 hours, I must say the gains have been phenomenal. It's been broader and more distinct and more simplified than whatever I could find in Scientology. So during a couple of hours, I realized that this 1 hour that we just did was more impactful than what I did on OT8. And it's because it's tailored to me. It's because I tailor it to me. It's because I look at the feelings that come up, I look at the emotions, I look at the thoughts that come up, and I address that. It's very, very simple. So I've been looking for a way to help people in the simplest way possible. And Dexter Gelfand is the closest thing I come to pure simplicity. Another thing which I have touched upon in a book I wrote maybe a couple of years back is How to Help a Friend in Trouble. And I now distill coaching people, helping people who are in trouble down to one simple thing. Get that person to help other people. No ifs and buts and whens and whatever. If a person is in trouble, if he is in some deep shit in life, up shit creek, just get him to help other people. Don't sit and marinate in his troubles. Don't let him talk endlessly about what bothers him or how he feels about it or whatever. I mean, there is a distinct way of doing it. If you can do it like Dexter does, well, give me the feeling, or permeate the feeling through your body, tell me what happens. But there is an even simpler way of handling people who are in deep shit. I'm talking about people who are struggling in life, not people who just want to reach a new level of realizations, but actually are in deep shit. Now, get them off the couch, off the chair, and out and help some people. Get them to a home for kids with Down syndrome or elderly people who are troubling with their eyesight or something. Let them help other people, and that will sort things out beautifully. So it's this type of simple approaches that I'm looking at. Another thing I would like to cover in this very sort of personal video is I've been looking for a way to handle my... I used to have a really sort of competitive spirit, to the point where I got really angry if I lost at something. And the thing that I lost at, which I could really not explain away, was the game of chess. I've been playing chess for years. I'm not very good, but I'm decent. And the thing is that when you lose in chess, there is nothing to sort of, you can blame anything. It's just you and your stupidity. It is you and your lack of skills. It's just you. There is no chance involved. And that makes it all the more hard to lose in chess, because it goes to the core of you, sort of. So I was thinking, how do I actually handle my upset, my anger, my when I lose in chess? So I decided to embark upon this quest of playing some at least 10,000 chess games for the last 10 years, last 3 years. I actually ended up playing almost 30,000 chess games in 3 years. And the way you do that is you play 1-minute games, like 1+0 it's called. It's like you play a bullet game, which is you get 1 full minute and no increment per chess move you make. And usually those games don't last that long. You can get in checkmate before that, or you can put the opponent in checkmate before that. So I played a lot of games. And with the attitude that it's not just about winning, it is about winning when you're losing. Because when you're losing, you are training your ability to lose. At least I was training my ability to lose. So it's always good to win. I feel good about winning, but I also started feeling good about losing, because then I felt a sense of accomplishment. I accomplished the ability to not get frustrated while losing. And last year around summer, I think, I came to the plateau where there was no reaction. Absolutely no reaction. There was like dead calm inside, and I was happy for losing and happy for winning, and it was all the same, really. It was like, yeah, this is fun. And at that point, my ELO rating went up about 150 points and has stayed there just because of this lack of frustration. So I was around, I'd say, on Lead Chess, which is where I played, I was around 1,500 a year ago. And then I haven't done any chess reading or opening or looking at lots of videos or anything. I haven't actually taught myself anything in the last 3 years. I was just on this journey to see what happens if I don't learn chess. I just play and play and play and play and see what happens if I lose, right? So the point was not to become better at chess at all. But accidentally that happened just as I lost the frustration. It jumped up about 150 points. So now I'm like around, yeah, let's say 1,700 or just below. So it's interesting. Without learning anything, I just lost my frustration. And that is back to what I talked about with Dexter Gelfand, letting the emotion play out and see what happens. And this was like a long, very arduous, hundreds of hours playing while I was in the bathroom, in the bathtub, on the subway, anywhere I can fit the chess game into, I would play chess just to sort of iron out my own frustration. And this is maybe not the simplest of approaches, at least not the least work-intensive approaches, but I just did it because I enjoy playing games like chess, and I could fit it in anywhere, so it's an easy exercise. It's a cool thing to have something to always exercise, to just when you have the chance, just do it. I have a few people that I'm coaching as of now. You might have discovered, if you're in Norway, that Tiri Lekhoff, the biathlete, she's skiing, you know, in the snow, and shooting with a rifle. And she has been winning a lot lately. During this season, she has won as many World Cup victories as she has done the previous 6 years, meaning 6 in total this season, 12 in total for her career. She has also some gold medals in the Olympics and World Championship, etc. So she's very good at what she's doing. But now she is up the ante and come to the point where she is winning a lot. She's leading the World Cup, which is all cool. Now, the simplicity with her and my coaching with her was that we boiled it down to 2 things. She should go her own run, not being dependent on external factors or what other people around her is doing, or if anybody is pulling away from her, she still has to do her own run. Also in her life in general, she would have to do her own decision, being in the driver's seat. And that's one thing. Another thing is that when you do a sport, you get very much focused on yourself and what you're doing, and am I doing it right, and am I standing correctly, and all of that. I see people passing in the background, by the way. You see me here talking to a tree. That's funny. But anyway, when you're becoming so self-conscious and also self-centered, you lose the fact of what is happening is actually out there. And for her, it's 50 meters ahead. It's the target is 50 meters away from her. So she needs to be where the target is, not where her breath or her stance or her blinking or her whatever is happening, because then it's happening here. And it's very hard to point when you're looking at everything from this point of view. You have to look at it from the other over there point of view. You have to be mentally 50 meters ahead. So this has been what cracked that. And I've also been coaching some other interesting people. One person is the lead ballet dancer in Norway at the opera, and she has been practicing being present, being mentally present, which is covered in the one-page book that Brendan and I wrote, which is called Mental Training the Core. It's on my website, isna.org. And it talks about how to train to be mentally present. And she's been doing that every day for half a year. And she's reporting extreme good gains on that, just sitting there in the closet, or not in the closet, but where she's doing here, changing into the costume, etc. And the other ballet dancer are thinking she's going crazy. She's just sitting there with her eyes closed, training to be what? Here. People don't train to be here and now and do nothing much in life. Which is good to train on, because then you get a foundation on which you can build other stuff like focus and good activities and stuff that you want to do. I'm also training one guy who is a remarkable empathetic guy who's called Christopher. By the way, the ballet dancer is Maiko Nishimo, and she's a Japanese, and she's been living in Norway for 20 years. She's an extremely good ballet dancer. I've seen her on stage. She's marvelous. You should have a chance to look at her performance, and you can see that on YouTube, or you can watch a movie that is made of her, because she had a baby in the middle of her career, which is kind of crazy when you're a ballet dancer, because everything can go wrong with your hip after a birth, etc. But she came back, and she became, again, one of the best ballet dancers in the world. Anyway, back to Christopher. Christopher is a guy that does scooting. It's like, I don't know what to call this, sparkesykkel in Norwegian. It's a skateboard with handles, and you do all kinds of tricks in the skateboard ramps, etc. And Christopher is one of the guys who competes in the European Championships. And he wanted to get back after some injury, etc., back to the European Championship, and I'm coaching him as well. A very empathetic guy, an interesting person. And we did some coaching yesterday, does this every other week with Einar, which is a programmer, very empathetic, extremely good programmer, doing something called Doolittle, is a company that does event-driven architecture. Christopher, who is this scooting guy. We have Niklas, which is my son, and a friend of my other son, my second oldest son, Jonathan. His friend is called Conrad, and he was there. And we also have Maria, who is a 400-meter hurdle runner, one of the best in Norway, and competing in the European Championship, etc. And all these people, I try to distill to them the simplicity of what we're doing. It's actually just sitting there and closing your eyes and being mentally present. Now, doing nothing, basically. It resembles what Scientology is doing with a drill called OTTR0, but it's not quite the same, because we are even simpler focus. It's not focused to become a practitioner in Scientology or something weird like that. It's actually just the drill to be mentally present. And it's different from meditation, where you focus on the mantra, or where you do visualizations, or where you focus on your breath or anything like that. You do absolutely freaking nothing, just nothing. That's the simplicity of it. And it's very hard for people to grasp the simplicity of doing nothing. No thoughts, no emotions. And if thoughts and emotions come up, you have to realize that those thoughts and emotions are your own. It's something that you created, and you're not focusing on putting them aside or fighting them away or thinking about not thinking or anything like that. Because if you're trying to force the thought away or fight it away, then you're actually, on the one hand, creating it, on the other hand, trying to squelch it. Get it away. Ooh, you know, that's a war between yourself. It's like creating and uncreating, creating and uncreating. That's the wrong thing to do. Just don't do it. Just don't create it. And the drill is to be able to not create thoughts and emotions. It's not that you want to be a psychopath or anything like that, but you want to be, at some point in life, in control of your own thoughts and emotions. Like if you're in a competition, if you're an MMA fighter, you don't want thoughts and emotions to creep up suddenly and surprise you so that you're taken off guard and hit to the ground and being beaten to a pulp. So there are certain situations in life where you want to have this control. So this is what we want to train on then. Like Maiko in her ballet performance would like to be performing the ballet, not doing stuff in her head, which is distracting her from delivering the best performance she can do. And also other people on stage would have the same benefit of being able to do nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's the simplicity of that. Talking about simplicity again, my current quest, but by the way, I have this is something I have to tell you. The end product of the chess game, by the way, was the ability to die gracefully. Now this sounds really crazy, perhaps, but being able to lose gracefully for each and every single chess game builds up the ability to be able to lose in general. And the biggest loss I can ever experience is perhaps the loss of life, meaning when I die, I should die gracefully. I should be able to die with a smile and think, yeah, now it's okay. So 30,000 chess games is drilling me to the point where I now can feel more comfortable. I'm not there yet. I'm not like, yeah, I can die now, completely no problem. I'm not quite there. I would be quite okay if I would go now. If somebody came up and shot me, yeah, I would be quite okay. But I have a little bit more training to do to be able to become completely relaxed about it. Just like Dalai Lama, he's said to be meditating on his own death 8 times per day, which is a preparation of sorts. So that's not the only reason why I did the chess gaming, but it's a sort of a side effect to that. Now, the thing I would like to do before I die is to mathematically prove the existence of or the necessity of free will or not. So basically, by mathematical logic, figure out free will. Now, I have approached this in the following manner. I'm going to give you a little insight on where I am on this point. Because looking at Gödel's incompleteness theorems, it goes into this. It says basically that if you have sufficiently capable mathematical framework that has axioms and where you can perform mathematics, a set of rules where you can perform mathematics. And that's world or universe of that type of mathematics, let's say the normal mathematics that we know with the axioms that we know, which is called mathematics in this world, cannot be both consistent and complete. You'll always find something, no matter what rules you add to this mathematical universe, you will always have some corner case, some example of inconsistencies or incompleteness, stuff that cannot be proven which might be true, which cannot be proven within this mathematical universe, or this set of axioms. So it also says that the consistency of this framework, this set of axioms, this mathematical universe cannot be proven within itself, and the completeness cannot be proven within itself. It cannot be both complete and consistent. No matter what you add to it, how many rules you add to it, or whatever you add to it, it cannot become complete and consistent. Now that's interesting, because if we take mathematics as we know it, it exists. In some form it exists. It doesn't not exist. So it exists. So no matter what you add onto it, how much rules or whatever you add onto it, even if you add all of existence to it, it will never become complete and consistent. You can add stuff to it, and let's say you add everything there is to it, all of existence to it, you will have something that is still not complete and consistent. This is an interesting way of thinking about it, because that boils down to a theory of everything can never be complete and consistent. You cannot ever have a theory of everything. That is a pipe dream. It's an illusion. Can never be. And another thing is that the universe, including everything that exists, we're not talking about the universe, we're talking about all of existence, can never be complete and consistent. So how do we solve this conundrum? Because it seems to be consistent. If it can never be complete, it must be infinite in a way. But infinity doesn't solve it. You can add infinity to it and it will still not be complete. So this is interesting. And this got me thinking that there is things that exist, which is existence, and there are things that don't exist, and what doesn't exist we don't think about, because if we think about it, it will exist. So what doesn't exist is uninteresting in this scenario. What is interesting is stuff that potentially can exist, things that might exist, and we can call that potential. So you have existence and you have potential. Potential is not existing yet, but it could exist. This boils down to free will. Because free will, if it exists, is something that is just a potential. It is not existing as of yet. But when you decide something, then you bring something into existence. You decide to think a thought, you bring that thought into existence. You decide to choose vanilla ice cream instead of strawberry ice cream, and you have an existence of a different action, meaning you take vanilla ice cream instead of strawberry ice cream. So this potential, which is what I'm boiling free will down to, we're not talking about soul or spirit or the universe or anything. I think all of that is just red herring. I'm thinking about existence as the whole and things that might exist, which is potential. And this potential is then free will, potentially. So talking about this, it would be free will is a potential only, bringing stuff into existence by choice. And this is where I am at now, and there is a mathematics behind this, etc., which I'm exploring. But this is the simple take so far. I'm looking at infinity, I'm looking at the infinitesimal, the infinitesimal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm looking at the mathematics behind this, diving more into Bell's theorem, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and particle physics and quantum mechanics, obviously, where it's the realm of all this uncertainty and pointing to maybe the observer has a role in this. But I'm not even talking about consciousness in this. I'm not talking about awareness. I think that is even a red herring. Because either you have something that can create existence, or you don't have something that can create existence, meaning you might have potential or you don't have potential. This is the simplicity of it. I would like to talk to people and have a coffee and chat or whatever about these subjects, because I would like to broaden my understanding of all of this. I would like to have sounding boards, people who are into this kind of things, and have a chat with me over Discord, over Messenger or anything. That would be an invitation for you if you are so inclined. I think I'm sort of exhausted my talk here in the woods. I'm getting really cold also. It's sub-zero Celsius. First I will have you actually look around. I'll pick you down from the tree. Here we go. And we'll have a little view. We'll walk over here. And here is the pond. And there's a nice little stream over there. And this is just in Oslo. This is not outside of Oslo. This is in Oslo. I actually parked my car just down this little slope down over there. And here you can see the lake or the pond is frozen. I wouldn't venture out on that ice because I wouldn't know how thick it is. Obviously here it's not thick at all. So nobody has walked there, but people have actually walked over here. And I don't know if that was days ago and if it's been melting or whatever, so I wouldn't actually... Well, okay, let's just do it a little bit. If I fall through, it will be a really cool video. Here we are on the... Oh, it seems actually quite solid. Yeah, okay, wasn't that dangerous. So, let's walk over here. Might be a little seasick from this, I guess, but giving you a slight tour of a tiny little part of Oslo. Here you can see the houses over there, and here's a little waterfall, and I think that should conclude the video. Back to me. Here I am, signing off for now. If there's anything you would like to talk to me about, then drop me an email at g@isne.com. Go to my website, isne.org, and you will find all kinds of weird stuff. And yeah, drop me a note if you'd like so. Signing off for now.